we're excited because we have one of the superheroes of Reed Temple joining us today, Dennis Goodson of Goodson Construction Company. Welcome to Black on Mondays.
Thank you.
Every time I look at you, I just see see God in you.
I love the Lord.
I see marriage ministry in you. I see trustee in you. I see joy in you. Tell us a little bit about your business.
Well, I'm Dennis Goodson with Goodson Construction. I have a home improvement business, and I've been licensed as a home improvement contractor for about 13 years. Prior to that, I was licensed real estate agent and owner for about 35 years. And in the process of selling real estate and working with Fannie Mae, liquidating their foreclosed homes, I just got really interested in the home improvement business. So I started buying a couple properties myself, fixing them up, working with Fannie Mae, and then I decided, wait a minute, maybe it's time for me to do something different. And that's when I got into the home improvement business.
So when you think about a primarily African-American church in a large African-American community, I know you're in the construction business, I know you're in the homeowner business, but beyond that, what inspired you to meet the challenges here in Prince George's County?
There are always challenges when you're a business owner. There are even more challenges when you're a black business owner. And in the home improvement business, there's even more challenges because it involves, number one, finances. You know, you have to have adequate finances to do what you need to do. Many major projects, you don't get paid until after the project is over. So you have to use your resources to get the project done. And that was a blessing for me because a lot of folks were not in that position to do that on a lot of these home improvement contracts. So I was blessed, and because of that, I was able to do these projects. And it's just amazing how God has just watched over me. I've always been told that you should operate within your passion. And that's clearly what I'm doing now, operating within my passion.
When you think about owning a home, people who move from being an apartment renter to a homeowner, they have no idea what it's like to own a home. And
That's
then,
right.
If they ever want to improve their home, they have no idea how sometimes construction companies are not Christian-based companies. So please tell us, when you're dealing with a young homeowner or somebody like me that's owned some property, how do you move through making sure they understand, you know, the complexities of owning a home and improving a home?
And you're absolutely correct. There are a lot of companies out here, unfortunately, not doing the right thing. But I truly believe people can feel your passion. They can feel the integrity that you have once they just talk with you 4 or 5 minutes. And I believe as you operate any business, you have to have integrity because we're accountable to the Lord.
That's right.
We cannot go out here and take advantage of people for the sake of a few dollars.
That's right.
And when you operate within integrity, you do what you say you're going to do, when you say you're going to do it, and you're not coming back to them every 5 minutes asking for $10 more. They learn to appreciate that because they see a whole different person than they're used to because they've heard all the horror stories. So when you come in there and you're different, you have a customer client for life.
So you helped me and my wife with our home here in Maryland, and you helped us. You helped make sure we had the right people at the right space and we absolutely love our home, and we thank you.
Beautiful home.
It is. It's a nice home. I mean, you helped us, and we appreciate you. I want to know this because you put so much of Dennis Goodson into it. What challenges have you experienced as a business owner? You talked about sometimes I have to put up my own money. How did you finance your company? Because it has to be some challenges sometimes with cash flow and purchasing stuff and paying people. What challenges have you experienced?
Number one, I'm not motivated by money. Absolutely. The money does not motivate me. The money pays my bills, but I'm not motivated by money. I go in with the intent of doing the best job I can, as reasonable as I can. And a lot of folks appreciate that. Before I come in, I'm sure they've had 2 or 3 other estimates. So when I come in and my numbers look right, all of a sudden, they believe in me.
That's right.
And I will not
That's right.
do less of a job because
That's right.
I'm not making X amount of money.
That's right.
Believe me, I just trust in the Lord, and everything I do, I know I'm accountable to Him because He's the reason I am so blessed. And I'm certainly not going to jeopardize that for a few dollars.
The Bible says those who begin a good work in God will continue to do a good work in them.
Mm-hmm.
Philippians chapter 1. And I want to hear how, because I heard you, I want to hear how your faith has moved you through this business. And it's all right. We know this is good.
And let's talk about my faith first. I remember the first time the Lord really talked to me. I wasn't sure it was the Lord. Mm-hmm. I thought it was the devil because he was telling me to sell my interest in the real estate company. Mm. And I'm like, it took too long to get this company to where we are. I know that's the devil, so I just ignored it. One Sunday, my wife and I were in Florida on vacation. We decided to pick a random church to go to church, and the pastor, I'm sitting about 20 rows back, called me down front and said, "Young man, come here." And I didn't even look up because I knew she wasn't talking to me. Nobody in there knew me. And when I looked up, realized she was talking to me, I walked down front and I stood in front of her, and all she said was, "The Lord told me to tell you, He's talking to you and you're not listening."
Come on now.
And let me tell you, I was one of those that did not believe in being slain in the spirit, and within a few seconds, I was laying on the floor. Pastor, it scared me when I woke up. I went back to my seat. My wife said, "Do you know what she's talking about?" I said, "Yes," but I did not want to discuss it with my wife because she ain't playing about that money.
No.
And when I told her I was going to get rid of my business, I know she wouldn't be in agreement. So I just ignored it. And I'll never forget, December 23rd, I went to Easton, Maryland to hear a sermon there. And the pastor spoke that Sunday on how many times must the Lord talk to you? Right then and there, for the first time in my life, I decided to surrender to the Lord. And let me tell you, while I was worried about losing the money that I was making because I would have been no longer involved with the company, as a matter of fact, I didn't even get any money out of the company. I held all the finances, so, there was major income lost. But I said, "Lord, I'm just going to trust you for the first time in my life. And I want you to know, while I'm sitting here worried about whether my income, how I'm going to recoup this income, my income went up over $100,000 that year.
Good God Almighty.
After that, I said, wow, I will never doubt this God. And let me tell you, that's how I made it in this business.
I have to say this because you were partly responsible for the construction of Reed Temple. When God brought you to this church, how did you transfer those skills into being the head trustee and making sure this building is managed correctly?
See, all that was part of God's plan. God was using me. I sat here, and when I sold my company, I didn't have all those other duties. I did not have to work on weekends anymore. I was strictly a Monday through Friday real estate agent, getting off at 4 o'clock. The Lord had designed that whole plan. Now I have time to do ministry work, because most of the ministry work was evenings and weekends.
That's right.
And I look back about 6 months after that and say, man, look at here. God has orchestrated this whole thing, and I couldn't have done it without him.
Good God.
I couldn't have done it without him. And Pastor, I kid you not, I get overwhelmed every time I think about it. So when people or in doubt whether the Lord is talking to them or not, well, his word says he's going to confirm it.
That's exactly
and he
right.
certainly confirmed it.
That's exactly right.
And right now, my whole life, even when I go on a job, I'm just sitting here, Lord, lead me, guide me, tell me what to do. Even if there are challenges, I rely on the Lord.
Thank you for that. I got to ask the question, and this is our last question that I'm going to ask you for closing comments. There are hundreds of people watching right now, afraid to go into business, don't know what they're going to do in the business that they're in, maybe run into some problems. What advice do you have for black business owners, any business owner, as you've been in this business for a number of years?
Back to that integrity word. You got to have integrity. If you promise something to someone, do it. You know, and I'm very funny about business. I had a process. As I was making money and getting deposits, I would never, ever spend $1 of that money for my person until the job was complete.
That's good.
I put all that money back in.
Good.
I know people that get huge deposits, spend that money, go out by themselves a S550, and then the next job, they don't have money to finance it. Not me. I said, I'm not going to even spend $10 until this job is over, so I can feel the reward of having lump sum money in my hand and decide whether I'm going to put it back into the business or not. You got to control your expenses. You got to prepare for a rainy day, because it's going to rain one day.
That's right.
It's going to rain one day.
That's right.
And you have to say, wait a minute, I got to, and I truly believe, I learned this in real estate, keep your overhead low. I had a strange thing happen to me the other day, and on one of the jobs, it was a rehab loan that people were trying to get, and they said, well, you have to have at least a 720 credit score.
Wow.
And I'm like, okay. I said, I've done many of these, but I don't know why y'all came up with that guideline. They ran my credit, and they said, we can't even find your name. And I'm like, what? And I realized for the last 15 years, I paid cash for everything. So I understood why my name wasn't there. And you know, all the household stuff, all that stuff goes through my wife. I ain't paid a bill in 20 years. She handles all that.
I know that.
But I had nothing in my name, nothing.
God.
Even our real estate was in my wife's name. So here it was, as old as I am, I didn't even have a credit score. That was amazing.
It's amazing that God has brought you through.
Don't get me to shouting, Pastor.
I got to hear you now, because if we know your testimony,
Getting ready to mess up.
that's all right.
God's been good. I mean, he's brought me so far personally.
Come on.
I remember them days when I had to look out the window and wonder whether they were repossessing my car or not. To days where when I walk in that car dealership, I can write that man a check and don't worry about whether it's going to clear or not. And it's all because of the favor that God put over my life. And I attribute that to doing the right thing and treating folks right.
Thank you for joining us for Black Owned Mondays. Any final comments?
Do the right thing. Even if it costs you, do the right thing. Because if for some reason one job you don't make it, you're going to make it up on the next job. God's going to show us favor as long as we continue to stand and do the right thing, and got to always put him first.
So how would someone contact your business for business? If they want to do business with Goodson Construction, how do they do it?
Well, you can always reach me at DennisJGoodson1 at Comcast.net, and I'll certainly respond to you immediately. And you know, Pastor, the beautiful thing about being God's child, we have never worried about business as long as we've been in business.
Right.
When I see friends of mine struggling for business, there has never been a time when we didn't have 3 months worth of business out in front of us. And it's a beautiful thing that people are willing to wait until you get to them. And I attribute that to being honest with them and doing the right thing. I will never shortcut a job. I will always do what's right. And in the end, I'm certainly going to give God the glory.
Bless God for you. Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate you too. You've been listening to Black Owned Monday. I'm Dr. Mark Whitlock, Reed Temple AME Church. Join us every Monday as we talk with black business owners about how God has guided their path. God bless.